Hello you all, welcome back to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, what's good? If you are new, hey look, I'm back with another video. So I wanted to take a little evening walk with y'all. I was supposed to edit this video way this morning, but I was like, literally, I got caught up doing a lot of things, and so I feel like it was extremely important for me to do this video right now. But wait till tomorrow morning to do it. I'm like, no, this video cannot wait, okay? But basically, I feel like it's important for me to make this video right now because the children are going back to school, okay? We want to pray the spiritual protection over our children if they go back to the school grounds, okay? We need protection of the Lord over our children, heavy and strong, okay? If you're one of those parents, and I know some of y'all just ready to get them kids back in school. You know, they probably been getting on your nerves all summer, and you just ready for them to be up out of your hair. But just hear me out with this message when I say, pray over your children. Pray to the Lord to protect your children, because this is an evil, wicked world we living in, and spiritual warfare coming in all different forms, okay? Spiritual warfare attacking your children, okay? We always like to talk about our spiritual protection, our spiritual warfare, everything going on with us. But we got to consider our children as well, okay, when it comes to this topic. So, it's the parent's worst nightmare to not know what's going on with their child and not in their eyesight. And unthinkable, unspeakable things going on with your child, okay? And a lot of us don't like to think that things like this could be happening with our children because, you know, we thinking that they're in good hands. But you could literally be releasing your child into the hands of evil, okay? Everybody does not have the mental and emotional capabilities to watch over children, okay? And it don't even matter how long this person may have, years of schooling, whatever the situation is. When somebody is weak and spiritually, and they don't have the emotional and mental capability to deal with children, they are liable to be weak to the ways of the wicked, to be weak to demonic spirits, okay? And so just be mindful. Talk to your children and let them know to come talk to you about anything, okay? And be very heavy and strong on getting to know your children's teachers, getting to know school staff, all that type of stuff. And I know you like, okay, that's a no-brainer, but literally, it's not a no-brainer for a lot of people because there's a lot of parents that are not actively involved in their children's lives when they are in school and they have no clue what is going on with them. Okay, y'all already know I'm gonna give y'all a personal story to why I'm bringing y'all this video right now, okay? So basically, I just found somewhere to sit. Hopefully there ain't too many bugs over here. But I'm gonna sit over here. Okay. Dang. The place I picked earlier, it was like a lot of noise going on, a lot of action, a lot of people around. So I wanted my little peace and quiet so I could be able to think and speak clearly, okay? But basically, get to know. It's so many parents is not really actively involved in their children's lives, okay? They put their children's lives in the hands of others and think that they are in good hands, when a lot of times that is not the case, okay? You are really throwing your child to the wolves. You are just releasing them without spiritual protection, without prayer, okay? Because everybody does not have the best intentions for your children, okay? We are living in a wicked world, and your children are not excused from it, okay? And so we want as much protection over them as possible, okay? But basically, it's just something that's really touched my spirit. Way spiritual warfare can be attacking your child, okay? Spirit of perversion, spirit of racism, okay? All different types of spiritual warfare in so many different forms attacking your children, okay? Children do not know how to fight spiritual warfare as much as we may do. Now, if we have to do all these different things to be spiritually protected, and we got to go through all these different methods and tactics to be spiritually protected, it takes learning, this takes persistency. If we gotta learn how to spiritually protect ourselves, and it take a lot of work to do that with the help of the Lord, then what makes you think that your child gonna be able to spiritually protect themselves? Okay, that is your job. It's no one else's job to protect your children but you, okay? Even if they are not in your eyesight, you ask the Lord to place his hands and his eyes and his protection of your children, okay, as much as possible. Because when I say this world is wicked, wicked, okay? All type of wickedness going on out here. in the school grounds. Okay, we are going to talk about it. I don't know how long I'm going to be speaking, but I'm just going to let spirit flow through me. Lord, please give me the right words to say. Okay, but we are going to talk about the spirit of perversion. Okay, and how to spot it. This is the main reason why it's important for you to build a strong relationship with school staff, because it's so many spirits of perversion in schools, and I've been seeing it since I was a child. I had one instance to where I think I was in high. No, I'm actually going to give 2 instances. Okay, we're going to talk about it twice. This had to be when I was in grammar school. Okay, so my grandmother had adopted some children, and so I had this foster sister. This had happened like around when I was in 6th grade, and I think she was in 7th or 8th grade. Lord, please give me the strength, because just talking about this type of stuff, it just will never think that years and decades later that we'll still be faced up with things like this. But literally, evil is heavy and strong in the schools, okay? But basically, this foster sister had came and told me something one day about this person was the assistant principal, okay? I'm not gonna put no names in this video. This is how she brought the situation to me. She was like, I promise to keep a secret. And I'm like, yeah. And she like, for real, don't tell nobody. And I'm like, okay, I'm not. But basically, a situation had happened to where an assistant principal had asked her to meet him somewhere, okay? Craziness, y'all. Basically, it was this restaurant that we used to go to all the time. And she had said that he asked her to meet him at this particular restaurant. And I'm just like, I'm in 6th grade at this time, but she's telling me this, knowing that it's wrong. I'm knowing that it's not right. Because I'm sitting up thinking, like, you're supposed to be assistant principal. Like, why are you asking a student to meet up with you outside of school? I immediately knew that it was wrong. And when she was telling me, it was almost like she was actually considering to meet up with this assistant principal outside of school. I seen perversion early, okay? And so after she told me this, like, it was literally like egging in my spirit. Like, I'm just like, okay, did she tell me this because she really want me to keep this a secret, or do she really want me to say something? Like, I wanted to say something so bad, but I wanted to keep my word with her, and I didn't want to upset her. But it just kept weighing on me. I felt like I had a heavy load on my shoulders. And something just kept telling me, say something, because every day I went to school, after she told me what happened behind this assistant principal, I would see him every day, and I would just feel weird and odd. Now, when you see a person, you discern it, you read that spirit, right? You can tell when somebody has a spirit of perversion on them, okay? If your discernment is heavy and you know how to read people like a book, you are going to pick this up when you first meet them. It's going to be all in their appearance. It's going to be all in their facial expressions, their body language, all this stuff. Just pay attention, y'all. Please pay attention. This dude was a creep, okay? So it just kept weighing on me. I'm like, I need to say something. Because something just kept on telling me, like, she told me this for a reason. Like, maybe she didn't feel comfortable enough to go to our grandmother and tell her about this. I don't know what it was, but I just kept feeling like, you need to say something, okay? So I had went to my grandmother one day. It was just really just weighing on my spirit so heavy. Like, I can't even feeling like I'm basically breaking the promise that I made to my sister. I didn't want to upset her. I knew that she was going to be upset, but I just felt like this was the right thing to do, you know? So I went to my grandmother and I told her, I told her everything that happened. And I remember my grandmother was so upset. Like, I remember my grandmother was angry, like she was pissed. She got on the phone with the school staff immediately. I remember, like I said, I was in 6th grade at the time, so I remember we had to go downtown to a board meeting with the school staff, the principal, the counselor, all that type of stuff. Like, I remember all this like yesterday, and I just remember like how angry my sister was at me, and I was upset that she was angry with me, but I felt like I was doing the right thing. I was helping her, you know, so I wasn't really more so upset. I just really felt like I did the right thing. My grandmother got involved in the situation right away. Like, she literally ain't waste no time. And I never forget, y'all, like, when it comes to the school board, this is why I say, nothing but prayer can protect your children. Nothing but the strength of the Lord is going to protect your child, because these schools do not care about who they hire. They will literally pick somebody up off the street and hire them to come work in the school, okay? Anybody can work in the school today. They don't have to have no qualifications. They don't have to have no years of experience, none of that type of stuff, okay? This is why I'm making this video. It's extremely important. But basically, after the whole thing, I never forget, y'all. Like, this is what made me look at schools differently. After the whole situation happened, I think they had suspended him. whatever it was that had happened, y'all. But this man wasn't even gone for like less than 2 or 3 weeks. Within 2 or 3 weeks, that man was working back at that school. Okay, they knew everything that happened, everything. That man was working back there. And I just could not believe it. I remember one day, I would never forget, y'all. Like, this was in 8th grade, years later. Our teacher was out of school and we had substitute, okay? So I walked in the classroom, and guess who we had as substitute teacher, y'all? That man that told my foster sister to meet him at the restaurant years prior. And I just walked in the place, I was just looking like, I can't believe that he's still working here after what he did. The minute I seen him, y'all, I got up and I walked right out the room. Like, and I got into the class, I just immediately felt evilness. Like, I just immediately felt like, ugh. Yeah, went up to the board and got to speaking and saying something. And I had just got up like in the middle of the class. And people that know me back in the day, they know that I was extremely shy and quiet. Like, I was never one to get in trouble for nothing. And so when everybody seen that I got up and walked out, they was like, ooh. They was like, Keone got up and walked out this class like she ain't never did nothing wrong. Like, I got up and walked out the room and everybody's like, ooh. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna call the principal and all this and that. And I ain't care. I just walked out the classroom and I walked down the hall because literally like our classroom was right there. And then when you walk out, you go down, it's a bathroom right on the side. And so I just walked in the bathroom and I just stood in there like the entire time. I think, if I'm not mistaken, y'all, I think he had came and stood outside in the bathroom and was trying to get me to come out, and I would not come out. I remember the school counselor had came and got me out in the bathroom, and we talked about it and everything. But I just could not believe, like, the school system was so poor. Like, they literally did not even care about this type of stuff back in the day. And we just gonna get to me in high school. I had an experience like this of my own with a school staff member. Okay, so fast forward to high school. This was my freshman year, y'all. I never forget, I was 14. And when I first started high school, I was just like, I was going through a lot at that time. I wasn't really involved with my schoolwork. I wasn't taking school seriously. I was failing a lot of my classes. My grandmother had a school counselor talk to me about my grades. I remember I would have to go meet with the school counselor like every other day. They would literally pull me out of lunch to go to this meeting. And I'll never forget, y'all, like, I remember this stuff like yesterday. I was about to say his name too, but I ain't gonna put his name in here. But I had went to his office and we got to sit down, we was talking, and he was like, yeah, I see your grades kind of low. What's going on? Like, he basically trying to talk to me to see how we can improve my grades. And I just remember just getting like this kind of vibe from him that was just, it felt like I was in the presence of evil, y'all. Like, I never forget, like, I felt extremely uncomfortable. He was sitting at the table like this, like, say for instance, this is me. You are the school counselor, you sitting on the other side of the table, right? And we went from talking about my grades to this man turned into a demon real quick. At first, I didn't get no weird vibes from him, but when he did this to me, like, I looked at him completely different. He went from talking about my grades to asking me about my personal life. He asked me, did I have a boyfriend? And this man went from talking about all that to talking about sex. And oh my God, y'all, like, the conversation just went left. And 14-year-old me, I'm just sitting there like, I don't even know how to take this. Like, I was so shook. Like, I was just stuck. I could not believe that he was having this sort of conversation with me. It was very inappropriate. I felt very uncomfortable. And I never forget, like, we were sitting at the table, and this is how he had to approach the situation. He said, he was basically trying to groom me, okay? He said, I know why your grades are like this. It's because of a boy. And I was dating somebody at the time, you know, and I was just sitting there thinking, like, well, how did he know that, you know? He was just very private, just trying to get all into my personal life, and just somehow he just ended up talking about sex. He said something about a baby, y'all. Like, I swear to you, I can't make none of this up. Like, he said something about a baby. I can't believe I'm about to tell y'all this. But I just be feeling like, I just looking back on my life, I literally just be looking like, I can't believe I went through all of this. And it was within good reason for me to come and tell y'all about it. But basically, he said a baby's vagina is very small, and it can seems like it's like elastic, it could stretch and expand. I couldn't grasp the full understanding of why he was having this conversation with me about a baby's vagina. Like, yeah, literally a baby's vagina, and he was having a conversation with me about it. And I'm just thinking, like, why is he telling me about this? I feel extremely uncomfortable, y'all. Like, when I say I feel like I was stuck to the seat, I feel like my soul, my spirit had kind of lifted up out of my body. Like, it was so much of an outer body kind of experience. And it all made sense to me later on why he was having that conversation with me. Like, he was basically saying that he was making reference to me, basically, like I'm a baby, and making reference about my vagina. But he was trying to put it in a different form, y'all. He told me how pretty I was. And I'll never forget. He was like, you got them deep, pretty eyes that you could just look into. Because I was literally looking at him the whole time he was sitting there. And he made a reference about my ass, like basically trying to come on to me. Yeah, like I would never forget that. Like I felt so uncomfortable the whole time he was talking to me. I like the way I'm looking around when I'm talking to y'all right now. That's how I was. Like I didn't want to make direct eye contact with him. It felt like the person that I met in the beginning was not the same person that was sitting in that chair. It was just almost like he transformed into somebody else, and I just felt so uncomfortable. And after that whole conversation, he was just like, literally, I would have to go meet with him, and we'd have to talk for about at least like 30 minutes to an hour. The entire time he was talking to me about sex. He was talking to me about how he used to be a pimp, just all types of inappropriate conversation. We didn't talk about my grades not one time. The only time we ever talked about grades was in the beginning, our first meeting. After that, the conversation went completely left. I was just sitting in the seat just thinking like, okay, because his office was off to the hall, going to the main office, and then off to the side was his office. And I was just thinking like, what would the principal think right now? Like literally, this man's in here trying to come on to me like he is a monster. And what would they think if they was to come in here and see this right now? I just remember just being in his office, just feeling like I was just not protected. And I was just thinking like, dang. I was just so stuck. I didn't know what to think, y'all. Like, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. It was like when he was talking to me, it was just like things were just going over my head. Like I'm hearing sex, girls, pimps, all this other types of like very inappropriate kind of conversation. He kept on making references about my body and me and my features and stuff like that. It was just very inappropriate. Before I was about to leave his office, I will never forget. He had a bulletin board behind him, right? Like a cork board made of cork. And in the back of him, he had like pictures of all the girls he used to go there. Like all these girls, it was like prom pictures, their graduation pictures, and all this type of stuff. And I remember he said something to me. I'll never forget this. He was like, you come back your senior year, because I was a freshman at this time. He was like, you come back your senior year, I'll get you right. He was like, I'll do your body right. And all this and that, I was like, oh my God. When he said that to me, it was just like, oh, I wanted to cry. Because I'm just sitting up here thinking like, we're supposed to be talking about my grades, and he's up in here trying to come on to me. Like, he was basically like low-key trying to have sex with me up in the office. It was so weird, y'all. It was so weird. It felt so weird. I wanted to get out of his office. Like, when I say I was sitting in his chair, I felt like I was melting in the seat. Like, when he looked at me, it was almost as if, you know how when a man look at you in a lustful kind of way, like that's how he was looking at me. It was almost as if my clothes had melted off of my body. Like it was so weird and strange. Like it's undescribable. But I remember feeling like I was naked. You know, I felt extremely uncomfortable. And when he said that to me, I was just like, oh my God. I feel like I was in the room with a monster. And I remember before I was about to leave his office, 'cause like I said, our meeting was about 45 minutes. And before I was about to leave his office, he asked me for a hug. And when I gave him a hug, it was just, oh my God. But the reason why I'm bringing this up now is because you're probably thinking like, well, did you tell somebody? I did not. I never told nobody about it because I grew up in a strict household. My grandmother was extremely strict. And so she used to be on my tail about everything, y'all. Like, my grandmother was something else. But I feel like if I would have told her, she would have been angry with me. And I just didn't want no more problems. I didn't say nothing to her about it. And I didn't tell nobody else in the school about it. Like, that man had me so shook and scared, like, to say anything. Every time I would see him in the hallway, I would just walk the other way. And I remember one particular day, because remember I told y'all that we were supposed to meet up like a few times out of the week. And they would call my name over the intercom in the lunchroom. I would have to meet him halfway through my lunch period. And so they would literally call my name over the intercom. Kiona, Divine, come in with such and such in the office. And after that first meeting, I kid you not, y'all, I think it was like 1 or 2 meetings I had with him. I did not go back to his office again after that. I did not. I remember this was around the time. I don't know if y'all remember this, but we used to have Nokia phones back then. And I remember I had a broken Nokia. The phone wasn't even on. I just had a phone. And I used to always record stuff and take pictures with it. And I had thought about recording our conversation one day, like literally. During the whole time, every time I would go meet with him, he would be the one talking. I never said nothing. And I'm just thinking like, I remember I used to have my Nokia phone in my pants pocket because we had to wear uniform. And so I'm like, I wonder if I record him. I was literally sitting up thinking about recording this man because I had thought about telling the principal about him. And I was so scared. Like I thought that he was gonna know that he was being recorded. And so I never did it. And I never told nobody out. Like I never told nobody nothing. I was so scared, but I never went back to his office after that. He was very inappropriate with me. I never forget that. But yeah, I just felt like I needed to share that little story with y'all because that's the type of stuff that's going on in these schools. This is why it's extremely important for you to get to know school staff. Whenever a child is having problems in school, the first thing they want to do is send them to school counseling, send them to the principal, send them to the assistant principal, things like that. And some of these people are sent by the devil. Okay, some of these people have very demonic spirits, just evil, y'all. Spirits of perversion. I will never forget that. I never forget how uncomfortable he made me feel. I had told my best friend about it, and she had told me too. She was like, "Yeah, I always used to get creep vibes from him." And she was like, "You gonna say something to somebody?" She was like, "Why you ain't tell nobody? You gonna tell somebody?" And I was so scared, y'all. Like literally, when I was in high school, I was shy. I was quiet. I was scared of everything and everybody. I didn't want to mention nothing to nobody about it. But I just really felt uncomfortable. The one thing I can say I remember is how unsafe I felt. Like I was literally feet away from the principal's office, like in the main office, and his office was literally right across from hers. I just felt so unsafe. I never forget. I remember, because like I said, when they would call my name over the intercom, I would not go. I stopped going. And I feel like that's when he knew then, like, dang, I can't give. You know, somebody get caught doing something wrong and they just sit back just thinking like, it was almost as if, because I remember one day, it was so weird. It went from them calling me on the intercom every other day to calling me over the intercom every day. It was like almost like this urgency, like he really wanted to get me alone in his office. It was so weird and crazy, y'all. Like, and I just stopped going. I think somebody had asked me, like, why haven't you been going to none of your counselors meetings? And I don't know if I made up a lie, some of y'all, but I was not going back to that main office after that. Them pictures, y'all should have seen the back of his wall, like the pictures of all the girls who used to go to that school. I kid you not, he probably slept with some of those girls. The same thing he did to me, he did to them. It's so weird. Like, he was like, the way he was talking about the girls, it was so weird. I remember I used to always avoid trying to go past the main office because I didn't want him to see me. Like, every time I would see him, I would literally walk the other way or just take another different direction in the school so I wouldn't have to run into him. But I remember one particular day, I was walking down towards the main office and I had seen him like far off, you know. And when he turned around and he looked at me, he gave me that look like he knew, like, you know how somebody get caught doing something? He ain't got caught in the cookie jar. That was the look that he gave me. It was like so much, it was a look of shame. It was a look of embarrassment. It was almost as if he knew, like, oh, dang, you know, I'm caught. I don't know if he know whether I told somebody or not, but he gave me that look like, dang, ain't no baby get her. That devil was trying to get me, y'all. Devil been after me since I was a short, yeah. That's why I always come and talk about spirituality so much, and I'm so strong on spiritual protection and all this type of stuff. And I always felt like I had the spirit of the Lord protecting me since I was a child. Like, I've been going through things like this since I was a child, y'all. But yeah, he was trying to get me, y'all. He was giving me that look like, dang, you know, I should never say all that to her, and now she may say something. That's the look that he had on his face, like literally, like, dang, I should never did. Dang, I should never say it on there. Now I'm probably finna get in trouble for this. That was the look he had on his face, you know. The minute I seen him down at the end of that hallway, he spotted me. I turned around and I walked the other way. I didn't even go to I had forgot what I was supposed to go to the office again. I think I had left my coat because we used to always have to put our coats outside in the lunchroom before we went to the lunchroom. I remember I had left my coat somewhere in the school and I had to go to the office to get it. But then when I seen him, I was just like, you know, I'm gonna just go get my coat later. I did not want to cross paths with that demon, okay? I have seen the look of perversion before, okay? Several times. You have been through a similar situation like me, school counselor, school principal, whatever, teacher, whatever. Just share your experiences in the comments below so people can know that you are not alone. And a child can be comfortable enough to open their mouth to come talk about it. And I was just sitting up here thinking, like, you know, my grandmother, she passed away now. Every time I think back on that, I just be thinking, like, man, my grandmother probably upset with me. Like, why didn't you ever tell me? After that man came on to me, I started noticing that my grades started to suffer even more. And I had ended up getting together before I graduated, but that whole situation with that school counselor really affected me. And if you've been through something like that, I already know how you feel. It's kind of like a nightmare that you can't really wake up from, and you just feel unsafe. You feel like you're not protected. And the whole time, I knew that the Lord was protecting me. It gave me my discernment really to know what to do. Like, I felt uncomfortable. I knew not to go back to his office again. I didn't care if I was going to get in trouble or nothing. Like, I just didn't want to be around him. It's evil. But I have spotted perversion in people so many times. This is where it goes to having a gift of discernment. Come talk about discernment, reading people's spirit, and they be real vague about it. Like, oh, You got to discern the right man for you. You got to discern friends, family, and all types of stuff. Like this literally goes to everything in your life, even when it comes to your children, when they go to school, all of that type of stuff. You got to discern everyone, okay? You can tell a lot about a person just from being around them in the first few minutes. I have seen the spirit of perversion on so many people. You know what I'm saying? People that I didn't even know from kin to pain, but just got around them and picked up that spirit off of them. It's the way that they look at you. It's the way that they, like, it's literally, they don't have to say a word about it in their mouth. It's the way that they can look at you. It's just anything. Like, it's people out here that's around my age, people that's younger than me. They have a spirit of perversion on them. Pick it up off of them. And it's evil. Spirit of perversion is something real, something serious. And so you want to be actively involved in your children's lives around these times. They got it now to where they have different types of bathrooms in the schools. Like, it's not just a women and men's bathroom, it's different types of bathrooms. So that just lets you know the times that we are living in right now. It's nothing like how it used to be back in the day. It's always been corruption in the schools since I was a child, but it is at a different kind of level now with the spiritual warfare when it comes to our children. It is at a different level. It's in plain sight, but it's hidden to the ones that are not spiritually strong, okay? To the ones that don't have that discernment. Okay, you got to be able to see beyond us in front of you. Okay, you got to be able to see the hidden agenda behind it. Okay, these are different times we are living in right now. This is spiritual warfare on a totally different types of level, especially with the spirit of perversion. They trying to introduce homosexuality into the schools and just all types of corruption and evilness. You know what I'm saying? So many different levels of it. Way different than what it was back in the day. I mean, it's been bad, but the corruption has intensified over the years with our school system. Okay, and so you sense the spirit of perversion on somebody, you get to praying over your child right away. Okay, the spirit of perversion ain't nothing to play with, nothing. And just like I said earlier in my story, where I said the school was aware. It's another reason why I never told my grandmother and school staff about what that school counselor did to me, because I just felt like nobody would have believed me. They would never did nothing about it. Like I told y'all in the first story about my foster sister, like they suspended him for about a week or two and he was right back working there. They didn't fire him. I felt like he should have been fired for what he had done. But that just gives you a clear idea of how the school system is. The school system is trash, okay? And you don't need nothing but spiritual protection of Lord Jesus over your children. You cannot put the safety of your children in the hands of others, okay? They will disappoint you. Okay, it will be things going on with your child that you will not even be aware of. Pray for the Lord to place discernment in your children's life as well. Okay, pray to Him to place that discernment in your child's life to where they know trouble and they sense trouble right away. They know to get away from it. They know how to get away from evil. Okay, they sense it, they feel it. Some children can feel the evil spirit as well. Okay, they see it, they feel it the same way you feel it and you see it. They see it and feel it the same. Okay. I think I'm gonna talk about this tomorrow on my channel, but in a different aspect. But yeah, just be mindful about who y'all let watch y'all children. Okay, even in school, everybody does not have your child's best interest. Looks can be very deceiving, and the very person that you think. Okay, it can be a good Samaritan. This person got all type of accolades, all types of titles up under their belt. It can be doing the unthinkable and speaking the unthinkable to your child, and you will not know. Okay, this school counselor had all types of achievements on his name, all types of plaques on his wall in his office. And he was trying to sleep with me at 14 years old. That man was trying to have sex with me. I will never forget that. It was unfortunate that it happened to me, but I always like to see the blessings behind a lot of things. Like, I feel like that happened to me for a reason, so that I can be able to come and tell y'all about it, just so y'all can just be aware. This is just awareness kind of video. Just be aware of what's going on around your children. You know, sometimes you may have to do a pop-up visit at the school on your lunch break, just anything. A lot of times these spirits and perversions, they like to play off the fact that a lot of parents are not actively involved in their children's lives. They're not aware. It's almost as if it's plenty of parents out here that just do not care about the well-being of their children. Okay, they want to get them out of their hair. They feel like their children are too much to handle. So when school time comes, they just ready for them to get on up out of here. Oh yeah, go on, get up out of here and go to school. You don't know what your child could be going through a few hours that they are in school. You have no clue. Don't throw your child to the wolves like that. There's so many wolves in these schools. They are hiding in plain sight. And if you do not place the spiritual protection of Lord Jesus over your child is going to be in trouble. Your child's going to be in danger. We don't want to speak that about our children. We want them to be spiritually protected, okay? But this is just a self-awareness video. All types of things going on out here. I'm just thinking about all the people that have went through the same thing I went through. These girls out here, my grammar school, I remember they had hired this one teacher. He was telling them to meet up with him after school at his house, and he got in trouble when he went to jail for it, you know? So, if you ever been through something like that, you're a child and you watching this, say something, okay? I know I said in this video that I didn't say nothing because I was afraid, but don't be afraid. Let a trusted person know what is going on, okay? These people are evil. They are in a position of authority and they're using it to do evil, okay? Do not let this person feel like they have power and authority over you because they are adult, because they are older. You may feel as though they have more power over you because of their position and their title. They do not, okay? Nobody has power over the Lord. The Lord has power over evil. That's what you need to know. What this person is doing is evil. It's not right. So you need to tell somebody, okay? So that's the main reason why I put this video out. Say something. Tell somebody, okay? Don't be afraid. Yeah, you can see spirits of perversion on people. I have seen this a lot. Yeah, sorry for the pause in the video, y'all, but I had to put this in here. But the number one way to spot the spirit of perversion is a person that cannot look you in your face, okay? If you have ever encountered an evil spirit, some of the times they cannot look you directly in the face, okay? They are going to look off to another person, or they are going to look off to the side. They don't want you to see that spirit. It's going to be almost as if they are avoiding contact with you, okay? Because if you have a spirit of discernment, you have a spiritual gift, you have the Holy Spirit on you. So evil spirits are going to avoid you at all costs. You can be in this person's vicinity. You could be standing a feet away from their face. You could be standing very close to this person and you see this spirit of perversion of you. This spirit of perversion will look off from you. They will look down. They will look left. They will look right. They will not look you directly in the face. If they look you directly in the face, it's going to be for a split second. And when they see that spirit on you, they're going to know that you see what's on them, and they are going to avoid eye contact with you. So please be mindful of that too. A person that cannot give you direct eye contact, that person is bad news 9 times out of 10. They are going to try to avoid you, but they are going to give themselves away, okay? Their eyes are going to be fixated on their target, okay? That spirit of perversion, they are not going to be able to hide it. It don't matter what they do. They are going to be fixated. That spirit that's on them is going to be fixated on their target. Okay, it's just like that lustful eye contact I told you about earlier in the video. Okay, going way beyond the physicality. Okay, this is a spirit that is on this person. This spirit cannot help itself. When they see somebody that they feel is vulnerable, that is a weak target, they are going to fixate themselves on that person. Okay, but they are going to avoid any type of contact with you, but you are going to be able to see that on them. This goes for our sons as well, not just our daughters. They are going through things like this too. You know, it's female teachers getting outed for their inappropriate behavior with a child. Okay? There's all type of movies out here about it, all type of news stories, all this type of stuff, you know? Boys go through it too. They have teachers coming on to them. Some of these teachers, these women teachers, they have spirits of perversion on them as well. It's not just men. Some of these teachers, they come off as very... There was a teacher that got a lot of backlash from wearing certain clothing to school and things like that. I feel like it's a time and place for everything. Like, it's appropriate attire for every situation and setting that you are in. So you have to learn how to dress a certain way when you are in that setting. You know, certain things you just can't wear when you have certain professions, okay? Teacher, you got to dress appropriately around children, because it's going to be a situation to where you are going to be looked at as having a spirit of perversion when you come to school dressed a certain way around teenagers, okay? Teenager boys, teenagers going to puberty at an early age. You know, they start getting erections, all that type of stuff. If you are wearing certain outfits that are not appropriate for the school setting, it's just the world we live in, okay? It's a time and a place for everything. A certain attire you should not be wearing to school, okay? Even as a parent, you don't show up to school wearing any and everything to school. Your child represents you and you represent your child as well. It works both ways, okay? So you don't want to be embarrassing your children by showing up to school looking any kind of way, okay? Spirits of perversion everywhere. Everywhere. I have seen this so many times in so many different settings, not even just at school. I've seen it at church. all that type of stuff. So yes, nobody is safe from spiritual warfare. Nobody is safe from demonic energy. It's out here. It's heavy and strong. Demonic spirits going to and fro, jumping from person to person. Okay, familiar spirits, spirits of perversions jump in, on and off of people. Okay, the same familiar spirit that you seen in 6th grade, high school, freshman year, is the same spirits that are operating out here today in 2023. I was a class of 2008. Okay, these are the same perversion kind of spirits out here in the schools. Okay, so just pray over your children, ask the Lord to protect your children as they go back into the school grounds, and hopefully they have a successful school year and we don't have any troubles and any problems. Okay, as long as we got the Lord Jesus Christ on our side, our children are going to be protected. We are going to be protected from any harm. Okay, so hopefully I got something in this video. Hopefully it helped you in some way. Continue to protect your soul and spirit. I'll talk to y'all in the next video.